Welcome everyone, and today I'm pretty sure all of you know what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the slideshow after the end. I'm so sorry. We're talking about the beginning after the end anime, which everyone hates so much. Some have even compared it to like Blue Lock Season 2, which was basically a PowerPoint presentation. And very strangely, in this situation, when a lot of people should have been blaming the animation studio, Studio ACAT, for failing to deliver proper animation, a lot of people are instead trying to blame the author, Turtleme, who's also called Brandon. To say that people hate the anime is just an understatement. There have been people coping so much that they somehow think Ufotable or MAPPA could have been the ones to animate the studio instead of Studio ACAT, because let's be real here. Studio ACAT is one of the worst animation studios you could ask for, okay? If you go to my anime list, you take a look at the anime that they've made, majority of them are trash. There's only one good anime, and that's Death Battle. And, you know, beginning after the end is going to be the second best because of how bad the animation is. And because of that, many fans are angry at Turtleme because apparently they believe that it's Turtleme's fault for choosing a bad animation studio. And that's because there is a clip of Brandon saying he had a list to choose from and he chose Studio ACAT. Now, we don't know if A1, Aniplex, MAPPA, or Ufotable was on that list. All we know was that Brandon said he chose Studio ACAT because he felt that a smaller studio could do a better job. That's it. That's all we know. And people blew up because they were angry at Brandon. Apparently, they don't like the anime so much. They're now blaming the author for, saying cherish the anime. Even if, Brandon says he didn't have much of a choice, people are still blaming him. And so after all the controversy, after everything, Brandon had to make a statement. And by the way, Brandon is going to SakuraCon soon. And if he doesn't address the allegations, then I'm pretty sure a lot of angry fans are going to meet him at the con and they're going to confront him. And that's why he's responding to everyone now, okay? Because let's be real here. If he doesn't respond, he's going to be in trouble in real life. We would hate for that to happen, but that's how it goes. Now, have fans forgiven him because of this response? Well, let's take a look at this graphic right here. So, because fans hate the T-bait anime, they're trying to get everyone to go to a website and sign a petition to get the anime cancelled, and they want the anime redone. At the time that this response was posted on Reddit by Turtleme, which was like 2 days ago, at the same time, 2 days ago, around 39,000 people have signed the petition. Theoretically, if Turtleme managed to quell the uneasiness regarding the anime, we should see a reduction of people. Oh my god, I just saw this. Are you guys seeing this? Hold on. Guys, we have 45,000 more people who signed the petition. Previously, it was like 39,000 people. And then after Brandon's response, it's like 45,000 people with signatures to get T-bait anime cancelled. So you can see immediately, like, Turtleme's response just didn't go well. Let's just take a look at what he has to say. With the anime adaptation beginning after the end having reached its third week and SakuraCon approaching, I felt it was necessary for me to speak up in hopes to quell any misunderstandings making their rounds. Yep, pretty much a lot of misunderstandings right there. A bunch of people think it's Brandon's fault for choosing the wrong anime studio, Studio ACAT, and they are mad because Brandon hasn't spoken out against Studio ACAT. But let's be real here, he can't exactly speak out against Studio ACAT when they've signed so many contracts with Tapas and the various parties, including Crunchyroll. He obviously can't speak out. He has to speak positive. If he speaks negatively now, in the future, do you honestly think anyone would want to work with him? Of course not. And that's why he can't speak his mind. Because if he does, he's in trouble. Everyone who signed a contract with him, including Studio ACAT, would be mad and there would be repercussions, okay? That's why he can't really speak out, okay? And even this entire statement right here, this is a risk, okay? If this goes badly and the people he signed the contracts with don't like this, he could be in trouble, okay? But so far, there's been no noise from them, so it should be okay. I just want to say that no matter what you think about Turtleme, he's never going to outright come out and say that T-bait, the slideshow after the end, is a bad anime. He can't say that, okay? He signed contracts, and if he says that, right now, people who want to watch the anime, for whatever reason, because they can put up with bad anime, will be discouraged from watching the anime. And that means less people coming to the web novel. Surely no one wants that, right? You want this to go from 42 million to 50 or 60 million, right? So he just can't discourage people from going there, okay? He has to try not to speak badly about the anime. Anyway, let's continue. Turtleme says, I want to start off by thanking all of you. Things have gone loud, pretty much, for lack of a better word, and I sincerely was touched by the heartfelt messages I received. It means a lot to me that throughout the near decade of writing T-Bait, the story has amassed such a passionate fan base. Okay, nothing wrong there. Coming from a time when I was sitting in a corner of a cafe writing the novel by myself for myself, it's obvious just how large T-Bait has gotten. I'm no longer just responsible for myself, but for my team members and partners associated with my work, as well as my readers. Okay, I'm just gonna say something real quick. You see the way he highlights, I'm no longer just responsible for myself, but for my team members and partners, okay? You can take a look at this, and even though he's not saying anything specifically, I think he's trying to tell us that if he speaks badly about the anime, it would affect his team members, it would affect his partners, so he can't say anything much. At least that's how I interpret it. And which each iteration of T-Bait, where more and more people are involved, comes its own unique set of challenges and intricacies. The anime adaptation has been a huge learning experience, collaborating in an industry with so many different people across Tapa, Studio ACAT, and Crunchyroll, who all bring their unique vision of what T-Bait the anime should be. At the end of the day, there will always be creative differences in a room, but I really do believe that everyone is coming at it with their best effort and intentions. Okay, it was a great learning experience, and that's because he realized that he couldn't control anything, couldn't control much. Okay, so if he couldn't control much, you can't really blame him for everything. He's just directly referencing Studio ACAT here. He can't exactly speak out against them, but you know, he's trying to explain his side of the story. Anyway, let's continue. I learned in the anime industry. Okay, here it is. This is the reason that Turtleme is giving why the anime flopped. It's very rare for the creator to have a say in deciding the ins and outs when it comes to the inception of an anime. This was a growing point for me since I was so used to having control over everything regarding beginning after the end. After all, for the novel, I'm the one writing it. For the comic, I oversee every single round. When T-Bait was optioned for an anime, he received the option to get an anime. I realized there were millions of moving parts before production could even begin. Oftentimes, the best products are an amalgamation of passion, hard work, and luck from a strong and dedicated team. Okay, so this is his excuse for why the anime is so bad. It's very rare for the creator to have a say about the anime. Okay, this is the closest thing that Turtleme has said that could be the reason why the anime is so horrible. Okay, he didn't have much control. There's too many moving parts. He was used to control, but because it was a learning experience, because it was completely new to him, he didn't know about how complex it all could be. He just went with it and, you know, he was taken for a spin. He got taken advantage of. He made bad decisions. And he couldn't, and even in that situation, even when he could make some decisions, he couldn't make all of them, right? You can see him complaining right here that he had so much control for the novel and for the manhwa, but he didn't have enough control for the anime. So for all of you saying that he should have chosen Ufotable or MAPPA or maybe Wit Studio because, okay, let's be real here. There's no way the beginning after the end is getting an adaptation from MAPPA or Ufotable. That's just not possible. Even without Studio ACAT's involvement, do any of you honestly believe that T-Bait as a series has the potential to be good enough that MAPPA would want to animate it? I don't think so. If it's a Wit Studio, I can see that because they went bankrupt once. They're a decent anime studio, but they constantly go bankrupt. I remember when they were making Vivi Florid Eyes, they went bankrupt immediately after that because, you know, Vivi didn't do as good. And they literally had to do like Osama Ranking as one of their final animes to like recoup the cost of all their animation efforts throughout the years. And, you know, they were able to continue because they got money from Osama Ranking because that did well. By the way, our Wit Studio has a new anime called Moonrise, which is like 30 times better in terms of animation compared to the T-Bait anime. So check that out if you're interested. Very nice story. I won't spoil it right now. I'll spoil it later. But go check out Moonrise. It's a great Wit Studio anime. Okay, way better than the T-Bait anime. You should go check it out. All the episodes were bulk released, killing all the hype. So there's that as well. But let's be real here. Let's be real. Okay, let's go to Tapas. We'll go back to his statement in a while. There's no way a series with 43 million views on Tapas could possibly get an anime adaptation that is better than Viral Hit. Okay, Viral Hit has 127 million views on Webtoon. And did all of you remember how bad Viral Hit was? The anime was worse than the beginning after the end. If anything, like Studio ACAT's animation was better than animation that Viral Hit had. Like, it was so embarrassing, okay? I liked Viral Hit a lot, okay? And when I saw the animation, I wanted to puke. And this viral hit, it's more popular than the beginning after the end. So it still had worse animation than beginning after the end. Manhwa adaptations into anime still have a reputation of being horrible. Remember, A Returner's magic should be special? I liked that series too. And the animation was so bad, it was laughable. Especially for a series of that caliber. Look at Lookism, okay? Lookism, you know Daniel? Yeah, this is Lookism. This is 900 million views, okay? The beginning after the end will never catch up to Lookism. And still, Lookism has one of the worst animes I've ever seen. One of the worst, okay? Somehow the webtoon or manhwa to anime adaptation pipeline is just garbage. There will be series in Japan that is less popular than the beginning after the end that get good anime adaptations, okay? Because the Japanese web novel to light novel to anime pipeline is somehow sophisticated enough that they can make anime that's good consistently over and over and over again. Now, this doesn't always happen, and there are always things that happen that make the anime worse in terms of animation quality, but I'm saying usually if a light novel is adapted, or if a manga is adapted into anime, and that manga or light novel has Japanese origins, usually the anime adaptation is beautiful, as long as the right animation studio is chosen, as long as the right director is there. But for manhwa and manhwa adaptations into anime, it's different. A Returner's magic should be special. The adaptation was not as good. Our God, which is more popular than T-Bait, it had good animation, but it was not great, okay? That's an example of a great series with not low quality, with okay-ish animation, and that is a pity because of how interesting Tower of God is. Look at God of High School, and this one was made by MAPPA, if I remember correctly, and while it was praised in the beginning, when it aired, nowadays no one cares about it. And that's because of various issues such as the pacing in the anime. For whatever reason, it was unpolished. And that was a blockbuster manhwa, okay? A lot of people knew about it, a lot of people read about it, and it still had a bad adaptation. Lookism also had a bad adaptation. Viral Hit also had a bad adaptation. All of them are manhwa, okay? Everything I just said are manhwa. Manhwa to anime adaptations traditionally have a low probability of making good anime. So expecting the beginning after the end to get a good anime, when the author himself barely has any control, it's just asking for the world, okay? There's something about the manhwa to anime pipeline that is not sophisticated enough to make good anime, even if the work it's adapting from is god tier. I think a lot of you watched the Solo Leveling anime and you started to get hope that somehow T-Bait was going to have a good anime. You guys need to wake up, stop huffing on copium. Will never be animated by MAPPA or Ufotable. And yes, I've read the novels. I'm 4 years ahead of most manhwa-only readers, and that's just because they just didn't update the chapters for the manhwa for years, and that's why I'm still ahead. I've read the novels. I know it's good, but just because it's good doesn't mean anything if the author doesn't have much say, and if the manhwa to anime adaptation pipeline is still immature. Okay? It's only starting to grow after Solo Leveling proved that manhwa could be viable and popular among anime fans. That's why we saw 20 different manhwas getting an adaptation, right? That's what the CEO said. Anyway, let's move on. What else do I have to say, Turtleme? But as with anything you love, whether it's your pet, your story, or even your child, even when faced with challenges, you don't wish for it to be gone and have a do-over. You support it through tough times and push it up so it can be something you can cherish because of all the trials and tribulations you've overcome together. Now, this is going to be pretty controversial because what the author is saying is that he wants you to cherish anime, and that's not going to go down with a lot of people. I can cherish anime because I have been here long enough to realize that, no matter how much you love a series, most likely it will never get an anime. Most likely, the anime it gets will never finish animating all the seasons. No matter how good the series, getting a good anime adaptation is not always possible, okay? But, people who read T-Bait, the manhwa or the novel, they still don't understand this. And I think the sorrow of having their favorite series getting turned into a horrible anime adaptation when they've basically insulted every single Mushoku Tensei fan in the world by saying T-Bait is better, because that's not true. Mushoku Tensei is better. It's more mature, okay? It's more mature, more sophisticated than T-Bait. It's more philosophical. It's beautiful. There's no way Mushoku Tensei would be less than T-Bait. In fact, it's the other way around. Okay, and so all those people who insulted Mushoku Tensei saying that T-Bait was better, now they're getting their comeuppance because now the T-Bait anime is so bad They can't even compare it to Mushoku Tensei. They can't even compare it to Blue Lock Season 2, which was horrible, by the way. All they can compare it to is a PowerPoint presentation. By the way, Episode 3 just aired. It's not that bad, but to a lot of T-Bait fans, it is. So the author saying to cherish the anime is going to piss off a lot of people. But to be fair with Turtleme, no matter what happens, even if he didn't know that the anime was going to turn out badly, I think he would have still loved it and should be proud of it, because not every author can get an anime adaptation. Because anime adaptations for American authors, for authors outside Japan, is very hard to do. Most adaptations are done for Japanese manga, Japanese light novels, and maybe Star Wars. If your IP is great enough, they'll make an anime of it. But American, like manhwa, forget American manhwa, even American manga has difficulty getting those anime adaptations, let alone a manhwa adaptation. Though I will admit the manhwa adaptation market is slowly growing. But T-Bait came at the wrong time. It was one of the earlier ones, and therefore couldn't ride the wave that will come in the future. I'm sure the author will be proud of T-Bait, even if we all hate the anime, because, at least he has an anime that he can be proud of. It's like a milestone of sorts for him, and so I can understand why he would say to cherish the anime. Okay? That's all I want to say. Anyway, the author continues, when we first adapted T-Bait into a webcomic, it was just me and Fuyuki23 along with our editors at the time. Because of limited resources, we were only able to put out episodes that were roughly 30 to 50 panels long, which was considered well below the industry standard. By the way, guys, industry standard for action manhwa is usually between 60 to 80 panels long. 80 on the high side. I think the sweet spot would be around 70 to 75 panels. That would be industry standard, and that's what he's talking about here. Anyway, Turtleme continues, complaints came about this, but in the end, the support it ultimately garnered allowed our team to grow, and they were able to improve despite the obstacles that came our way. Very beautiful story. As the author of T-Bait, one who has spent 10 years writing almost 2 million words of this story, he's humble bragging. I hope that you'll believe me when I say I want nothing but the best for this story. No one is doubting this except for the people who is delusional enough to think that T-Bait would get a ufotable animation. Any of you who think T-Bait would get ufotable or MAPPA animation, you are delusional, guaranteed. Anyway, author is saying whatever feelings you have for the anime, I'm thankful for the people behind the scenes who have given me this opportunity, and I'm thankful for all of you for helping me make this happen in the first place. You've stuck through T-Bait at its highs and lows, so I ask for your support now. Okay, so by saying stuck through T-Bait through its highs and lows, he acknowledges that it is a low point. It is a low point for him, and he needs our support. Okay, he says, please continue being the rock that gave T-Bait the time and chance to be where it is today. I'm not asking you to like something you don't, but please be respectful and set an example in the vast ocean that is the internet. Many creators think that their fan base is a double-edged sword, but as the one who is fortunate to be wielding this sword, I know it all starts with acknowledging and respecting both blades. I know he's an author and he's trying to be fancy with words by using metaphor and swords, but this is going to piss off the fan base even more. This metaphor is not going to impress a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, but at least he's trying. I know that it all starts with acknowledging and respecting both blades. Every decision I make regarding T-Bait, I make with the intention of respecting myself and all the time and tears I spent writing it. Respecting those supporting me in an unfamiliar industry, and respecting you all in the hopes that whatever is made could be something you like. I'm only human. Remember, the author is only human. And not every one of my decisions may play out perfectly, but believe me when I say that I respect you, my fans, for your dedication and support for T-Bait. I'm still very much going to SakuraCon, and I can't wait to meet those who can make it so I can share a small special announcement with you all. Ooh, I wonder what the special announcement is. Special announcement. I wonder what it is. What do you guys think it is? Season 2? Are we getting a season 2 after season 1? Season 1 is 25 episodes, right? So if they do season 2, at least you'll get more than that. Is that possible? That would take a lot of money, right? Maybe the small announcement is merch, or maybe even a new anime adaptation. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not pissing you off. I'm not trying to piss you off. Anyway, you can see the author's reasoning for why he, made a horrible anime. It's because he didn't have much control. He was navigating unfamiliar territory. He was inexperienced. He was taken for a loop. He was taken advantage of. He signed contracts, and now he can't trash talk it because he has to protect his partners and team members, everyone involved with drawing the manhwa, as well as the people giving him the opportunities, both now and in the future when, Turtleme starts writing new novels or whatever, right? So it's not exactly his fault, because even if he made mistakes that ultimately led him to choosing ACAT, whether he had a choice or not, I think we should forgive him, because it's his series. You honestly think the author would try to destroy his own series? Obviously not. And to the people who said he got paid for the anime, let's not be delusional here. Even Gintama's author said he wasn't paid much for his anime movie. He gets paid like zero. And he still peed blood to make sure the adaptation was good. Okay? I don't know if a lot of you are aware, but when you're making an anime, you get an offer to make an anime. You're not going to be paid much. It's usually an upfront fee or just nothing at all. Okay? A lot of people in Japan complain about this. So obviously, when you have a foreigner like Turtleme, who's not in the best position to negotiate, since this is the first manhwa to anime adaptation from an American author, it's going to be hard to deal with that, okay? It's going to be hard to have not much control. It's not his fault specifically. It may be his fault, but come on, let's cut him some slack, okay? You want to blame Turtleme if you hate the anime? Dude, I understand, but let's not like murder him, all right? Let's cut him some slack. He's just trying to have fun, you know? I know his face is devoid of fun right now, and he's like fuckboy, but come on, man. You guys love the series too, right? And besides, you can still have some copium because it doesn't matter if it looks like a PowerPoint presentation now, because there are 25 episodes. Yeah, the animation was outsourced to a Chinese studio, and Studio A-Cat's founder basically told Turtleme straight out face-to-face that he loved the series and then proceeded to outsource it to a Chinese animation studio. Did this pathetic, horrendous PowerPoint presentation that everyone will never call an anime. We will call it the slideshow after the end instead. Even after all of that, okay, it's not Turtleme's fault. It was Studio A-Cat managed to trick him, you know, and there's also like we don't know for sure whether or not he had actual control. He says he doesn't, but he doesn't specifically say that he doesn't have control because he still said he chose A-Cat. He said he chose A-Cat on the Crunchyroll interview. So, and now he's saying he doesn't have control. Dude, let's just say, okay, maybe it's his fault the anime is like that, but let's cut him some slack, okay? But yeah, you still have many episodes left. What was it, 24, 25 episodes? We're at episode 3, which is not that good. It's interesting, but not that good. It's basically, you know, from the manhwa and from the novels. You know, maybe something will surprise you. And even if at the end you don't find it good enough for you, and you want to start comparing it to Blue Lock Season 2, which you shouldn't, because Blue Lock Season 2 is still better than T-Bait, the anime, then if you want to hate on Turtleme, you just continue hating, dude. Dude, there's nothing I can do at this point. I can say all I want, that we should cut the author some slack because he was taken for a loop because he doesn't have much control. But I'm sure fans of T-Bait just can't handle it anymore. They just want an anime so bad. Like literally, like it's like 45,000 signatures, 45,000 verified signatures. That's what, a 6,000 signature increase after the author, you know, put up his statement. So damage control is not doing well. But I will say I've seen less people complaining about the anime these days. So maybe the hatred is dying down. Maybe people will start to appreciate the T-Bait anime. We don't know for sure, but maybe people will one day be able to forgive Turtleme, you know, letting his anime become like that. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Bye, guys.